Welcome back. You're still watching The Globe on the SABC News Channel. The President of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, has suspended the head of the country's anti-corruption agency over allegations that he stole some of the looted money that had been confiscated by the organization. Ibrahim Magu has denied any wrongdoing, though. He heads the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and has been appearing before presidential panel reviewing its activities this week. Nigeria's Attorney General Abubakar Malami told the panel that the commission agents had been stealing recovered funds into private fund pockets. Buhari has been tackling corruption a priority since taking office in 2015. All right, so a big story there, and we've asked Nigerian journalist Samson Omale to join us via Skype to take us through this development. Samson, my brother, good to talk to you. How are you keeping?
Peter, it's very good to see you. A very good evening to you. I'm doing very well this evening.
All right, so it's shocking to hear that the person whose job it is to go after corruption to be the one accused of being a corrupter. Take us through that, and was it a surprise actually when he was charged?
Well, now, it didn't come as a surprise to a lot of Nigerians, but for a section of Nigerians, it's also been a surprise because Ibrahim Magu, as you rightly said, had been at the head of Nigeria's anti-graft agency, which is the Economic Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, that's what's being called. He's had a running battle, and as I speak to you, he's been the longest-serving public servant who has been acting in a particular agency in Nigeria. Since he was appointed in 2015, he was appointed in an acting position twice. His nomination by President Muhammadu Buhari was rejected by Nigeria Parliament, talking about the Nigerian National Assembly, because again, they raised question of integrity. It raised question of his sincerity and, of course, some security reports around him. But the president had insisted that that is his best man for the job and has kept him there in an acting position. Now, that didn't go down well with some people. And for some, it's been a long time coming, because there's also what we're beginning to hear has been some form of power play within the presidency, where you have different blocs who, are in favor of his position or in favor of Ibrahim Magu as being at the leadership of Nigerian EFCC, and then you have others also who are not so comfortable with him. So it's been this power play. And today, it appears that is beginning to come to head. Just before we came on air, there was a press release that came through from the Attorney General's office that formally suspended him from his position, and I've asked one of the most senior officers in his office to take over in an acting capacity. It is the fourth day, Peter, that is being grilled right now by a special panel set up by the presidency. It's called the Presidential Panel Special Investigation Unit, and he's been quizzed, and it's the fourth day. We don't know what will come out of it yet, and unfortunately the amount of information we're getting both from the presidency or his agencies has been little or nothing at all.
So my next question, I think you gave us a hint in your last answer, that the Attorney General, he sends memos to the President about people who he feels should be prosecuted, and sometimes and often we believe that nothing ever happens to these memos. And so one almost thinks that the memos, it's not so much the merit, but whether the political will is there to deal with them.
Peter, you've painted it more succinctly there, and that's been the problem of the fight against graft by President Muhammadu Buhari. He's been heavily criticized because members of the opposition has over time raised concern that those who belong to his party, which is the ruling All Progressive Congress, more time have not had their cases prosecuted fiercely like you have with those who belong to the opposition. And that's where you have the Attorney General of the Federation, who also doubles as Nigerian Minister of Justice, who writes these memos. Sometimes you also have high-profile cases, which the EFCC, where the suspended chairman normally would take charge of. Maybe because of one or two political interests, you see him taking over such kind of cases. So you have those issues, and it has rubbed off very badly on the fight by President Muhammadu Buhari, because again, you have reports of people who obviously, even though you cannot until they are pronounced guilty, but it's obvious from all their antecedents, from their wealth, it's suspicious. And several petitions may be written to the EFCC, which is the anti-graft agency, to go after these publicly exposed political persons. But oftentimes it drags. A case in point is the former secretary to Nigeria's government, which is the top bureaucrats. At one point, he was arrested for actually giving some form of contract out, running into millions of dollars. But despite, the hues and cry from the Nigerian public, it took a whole lot of time before he was brought and prosecuted. And as we speak, that case is still in court. He's not really been given the kind of push you would expect. And that's because he's somehow close to the seat of power. Now, you also have others who belong to the opposition who they go after. And as a matter of fact, before now, you also have judges, you have former governors who have also been trailed on the issues of corruption. So that is, I must say, the biggest problem the Buhari's fight against corruption is facing at the moment.
All right. So from what you're saying, it sounds as if that this is a drop in the ocean of what could be a massive problem in the country in terms of senior figures involved in less than legal activities, and that it's become almost an accepted norm.
Yes, very true, Peter. And for this, the challenge with this is that you have different opinions on this. While others say that, look, it's because Ibrahim Magu has actually stepped on toes he shouldn't have bothered to. Others feel, well, nobody is above the law. And so many questions as to who exactly, because we've not really had convictions that you would expect. We have a very flourishing oil industry, and the sleaze that comes with that industry is better imagined. And so when you have the head of the anti-graft agency being suspended and, of course, being quizzed, there's a whole lot of question, because, again, it's the biggest embarrassment the government can face. Because if the person who is supposed to go after the criminal is now being found guilty of being suspected to be the criminal in this instance, it then means that there's a whole lot of problem. But again, you have so much in terms of corruption, because one of the failings of Nigeria today is because we've not been able to build institutions that will, fight against graft, fight against anything that looks suspicious and all of that. EFCC seemed to be the one that had come up, but now again is having, an internal problem of its own, which can rubbish the entire fight against graft in Nigeria.
All right. And Magu himself denying any wrongdoing even now?
Yes, that is expected. From the little we're getting out, he's not being able to come out clean to say, okay, look, all of this that you are suspecting me of, I'm guilty of it. We've seen a whole lot being thrown in the media about some properties, some money, some expensive items linked to him. All of these we hear, he has denied all of them. And as a matter of fact, just before I came on air with you, there were some reports coming through that he has actually applied for bail from the Inspector General of Police. More so that he's actually a serving police officer. He's the Deputy Commissioner of Police. So he's asking the IGP, the Nigerian Inspector General of Police, to grant him bail. We'll wait to see if that will come through, because it's going to be his fourth night tonight, as it is, that he will be spending answering questions that needed some clarification by the presidential panel investigating him. Peter?
All right. So has this case gone too far? It's too public for the president to be able to assist in any way?
Yes, it's gone too far. And as a matter of fact, the presidency has been accused of being too slow, as a matter of fact, because when we got hints initially on Monday that it was being quizzed, the presidency kept mum. Every effort to get some bit of statement from the presidency as to what is happening, it didn't come too quick until this afternoon, really, that the presidency was able to come up with a clear statement on the issue. And a lot of people have blamed President Buhari again that for a section of Nigerians that he's really not in charge, because if the allegation that there is a lot of power play within the presidency with different interests, some for and some against, the position and the person of Ibrahim Magu, then it tells us so much about how much control the president has right now in terms of handling affairs within his domain, and of course, by extension, Nigeria as a whole.
Samson Omale, that's where we're going to have to leave it. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Great to hear your voice and see your face. Thanks so much indeed for your time this evening.